Kinda Funny is going to San Diego Comic-Con. We're doing a meet and greet at Polite Provisions. I'm hosting panels for Deus Ex, Tomb Raider, Call of Duty, and more. And best of all, Kevin won't be there. Get all the details at kindafunny.com/SDCC.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the first ever episode 77 of the Kinda Funny Gamescast. As always, I'm Tim Gettys, joined by the coolest dudes in video games, Colin Moriarty and Greg Miller.
Hi.
Portillo's there.
He's there.
Chilling
as always.
Chomping on some little the pink pig.
Face.
Cat? The pink cat.
Yeah.
Everyone
It's
likes that pink
one of
cat.
the Lola toys he just took.
That toy actually, Lola got that toy from someone in a hotel lobby.
Huh.
So that toy's been making the rounds.
The R. Kelly.
Toy's a slut.
Damn, son.
Toy just doesn't care, man. Just
That
goes
toy don't
wherever
care.
in everybody's mouth.
Mm-hmm. It's my favorite place to
Slut
be.
shaming the toy.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Kinda Funny Gamescast. Every week we talk about cat toys and video games.
Technically, it's a dog toy that looks like a cat.
I meant like cat toys. Like It's a toy that is a cat. Not,
Okay, sure.
Yeah, it is
okay.
a dog
You're
toy.
right. You got me. You nailed
theoretically.
me. You nailed me.
And also, great. So you're telling me that this thing will fuck whoever the fuck it wants to, but it can't be played with by a cat?
Get in people's mouths. Oh, no. No cat would play with this toy.
Cats play with that toy.
No way.
You don't know shit, Greg. Anyways, we talk about video games a lot. You can find it here on youtube.com/kindafunnygames, or you can go to patreon.com/kindafunnygames and get the show early for some reason, along with a lot of other goodies.
Yeah.
And things like that, of that nature.
Q&As.
Q&As.
Fan mails.
Uh-huh. What else is there?
A
What do
bunch
we
of stuff.
do?
Just go look
Do
at
we
the
do-
page.
do
Can
we
you
do
go look at the
anything
page? Just
Yeah.
go look at the page, please. We spend a lot of time on the page.
Thank you. It's a good page. I actually am a big fan of the page, but I want to clean it up.
Okay.
It needs some.
There's a lot of things you
updating.
want to do.
Of course there is.
A lot of things not going to happen.
Never.
Yeah.
Never. You know what is going to happen?
What's that?
A review of Song of the Deep by the
Oh my
one and
God.
only Gregorius Miller.
Ladies and gentlemen, I love Song of the Deep.
Mm.
Caught me off guard. Here, I also want to. I want to lead with still haven't beaten Song of the Deep because it's way longer than I thought it was going to be. But I'll walk you through it. Song of the Deep for me is hitting on something I didn't know I was missing. Saturday, I woke up. I wanted to play something. I thought I was going to play Oxenfree. I was like, I'm going to platinum Oxenfree this weekend. Now, we haven't been home in so long. We've been to so many conventions in a row. I was like, I'm going to play a console game, and I'd like to get some trophies. And I saw Oxenfree. I was like, I wanted to give that another shot. I jumped in, played a little bit of Oxenfree again. It just doesn't work for me. I've given it a few shots. I played through it on Xbox, or I guess Steam. It's a fine game. I wasn't in love with those other people. I still like parts of it. So I closed it, went back to the media bar or whatever, and saw Song of the Deep chilling there. And I was like, I legitimately didn't know anything about Song of the Deep. I clicked on it. I mean, I knew it was Insomniac's game. I remember when they were teasing the reveal, they put out the little trailer or whatever, but it wasn't even a trailer. It was just like the reveal of it being an underwater game. Clicked on Song of the Deep, got into it, and immediately fell in love with it. Because what I didn't realize I was looking for was something I talked about a lot with Unfinished Swan of gaming comfort food. Like that, I always talk about, I think in my review of Unfinished Swan for IGN, I talk about, it's like a cup of cocoa and a blanket. Like it's one of those things like you want to hunker down with it and just spend it. And part of that I think is the fact that in Unfinished Swan, someone's telling you a story like very clearly, you know what I mean? They're talking about the boy, they're doing all these different things. In Song of the Deep is the same way, where it's like, this is Marin, her and her father, her father's a fisherman. They live out here. She, waits up from every night, and one night he doesn't come back. So and like all this is happening in like storybook pages, like really, really not intricate art, but storybook art, like what I would expect out of that. Same color palette, same everything else. And so then you get into the game, and the game is as beautiful as that, more beautiful than that. Like that's setting the tone for what your color palette's going to be and how the game's going to be. But then the levels themselves, incredibly beautiful. The soundtrack, the instrumentals that are going behind it, awesome and beautiful too. And then you have this really, really great narration from this Irish woman that I would beat it. Maybe at the end it turns out to be her mother. Go.
My shillelagh.
Oh, my shillelagh. Oh, Danny O'Dwyer.
It's Amy Gills.
Oh, it's Amy Gills.
It's a big twist.
Yeah. But it was totally hit this nerve. I didn't know. We always talk about, games scratching itches that we didn't know were there or whatever. And it totally got me. And I was sitting there and playing it and being in love with everything that was happening. And it's if you don't know, it's a Metroidvania game. You're in this little submersible going through looking for your father. You can zoom out and see how huge the map is at any time. You're obviously running into plenty of stuff where you're like, clearly this is a door or a barrier that I can't get through with my current weapons. So I know that at some point I'll come back. And you're going and there's like little crevices to go in and you're like, okay, am I going to be able to shrink the ship or something else? Turns out you can get out of the ship eventually when you get this other thing. It's a beautiful game. It is a game that's speaking to me on a storybook level, which I really appreciate. And something I was talking about, because reviews I saw, I didn't read any reviews beforehand, started playing it, and after like that first day with it Saturday, I jumped out to just look at scores and saw that it's getting like 7s and 6s. I understand that. I would be, high 7s or whatever, maybe an 8 if I was still having to worry about that kind of crap, but I don't, thank goodness. So I understand that why I'd be getting that, because for me, in the good way, it's very much a game. If that makes sense. You're playing it, and I don't feel like there is this bigger message. It isn't pushing technology in a different way. It's like, here's a fun Metroidvania game for you to play that theoretically should take you a weekend probably or 2 days, right? I spent all Saturday playing, jumped in on Sunday, did a couple hours Monday night, or maybe an hour Monday night. And so I still feel like I have, I think I estimated yesterday when we were talking about it, like 4 hours left, if I'm guessing, which I don't know, but based on trophies and bosses that are still out there and stuff like that. I think it's a really well put together package. It's a really interesting, fun world. There's, I'm playing on normal. There's a harder level, but I'm not getting to this point where I'm feeling like I'm pissed off at enemies. They're putting me in a room where it's like gauntlet and maybe I'll die, but then I come back and kill everything. It's like, okay, cool. The weapons are there. Upgrades are attainable. Like, it's one of those, Metroidvanias are all about, finding your new items, weapons, or, abilities, and then maxing them out through your skill trees and stuff like that. Same thing here with taking the gold you found and buying from the shrimp man or whatever, the upgrade you need. And it's fun. Like, it's simple, and it's a game, and I think just the way I'm describing it, now what this thing is, but there's something about it. There's something special to it.
You're not talking about mechanics though. So how does the game play, and so you're in a submersible?
Yeah, you're in a little submarine that you build.
And then you fire rockets with it and stuff like that?
Eventually, yeah. Your first basic thing is that you have a little hook shot, basically, that you can shoot out, that you can use to grab things, to interact and pull levers, and certain times there'll be ones to pull levers to open doors and then release and then try to get over there and get out. So it's like, from the basic level, yeah, it's the little grappling hook kind of thing that you're using, that you can shoot into enemies and attack them that way and then flank them and do it again. You can upgrade that and make it more powerful, make all these different things. Then yes, you get torpedoes at one point, and then you can upgrade them to have dual torpedoes for one shot. Then you get you get a ice blast that can freeze enemies, or like you can use it in puzzles, because there's puzzles too obviously, where you can when you freeze these like I guess what do they call them, warheads if you want, or bombs, I guess mines. Once you freeze them, they they become buoyant, and so you can use them and move them around and blow stuff up like that. There's a thermal detonation one, stuff like that. You have a boost to swim faster, which then comes, because there's other times where it's like you got to try to fight the current, but you can't, but you can see that you need to at some point. So it's interesting. Like every Metroidvania, I think my favorite part is learning the mechanics and seeing things and like, oh, how am I going to do that? So the first time it's like, all right, cool, I can boost this far, and now that I've upgraded my grappling hook, I can grab that thing and then pull myself around and swing over there, and there's all that. And then eventually they start tossing, and the downside to the game, I feel like, is they put in some you're having this great time, you're in the submersible, everything's really cool, then they put in some of those like light puzzles, like, you know what I mean, like, all right, you have to get this laser up here, so to do that you need to like move all these mirrors and bounce light around.
No, not
the
old mirror laser puzzle.
So they're not hard, you know what I mean. Again, it's a simple game, and I don't mean that as a way to detract from it. Sometimes I was overcomplicating it. But when I first got in this room and I have like 2 sets of red, 2 sets of blue, 2 sets of green that I'm trying to bounce all around all these mirrors, I was like, this isn't what I loved about this game. This isn't where I wanted to be. But I got out of it fast enough to keep going. And the other thing is that it is long. I do feel I was looking for, when I started it, I'm like, I'm gonna beat this in a day. And then when I didn't, I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go over to Nick's, watch UFC. I'll beat it tomorrow. And then I got in for a little bit. I was like, man, there's still more. It's not overstaying its welcome, but I think I was trying to power through it. Not power through, but I wanted to get through it like I did Unfinished Swan, where it was like a sitting and I was over it. This has more lasting power, but that only agitates me more in the fact of why doesn't it have a platinum trophy? Like, why is this not being treated like a real game? If it's on disc, it is long. It is
weird.
A fleshed
that was
out
really
Metroidvania
bizarre,
game.
huh? When I saw that. We talked about that on PS I Love You, I think. You weren't there, I guess, but we did talk about it. Then we talked about it on Colin and Greg, I think, as well. But I talked about it on PS I Love You, that this game has no platinum trophy, which is really fucking annoying. Actually, like, to me, like, it's not bizarre or anything, it's obnoxious. Yeah. That like the game this long, this deep, a Metroidvania game has 10 trophies or something like that. I know that's not important to a lot of people, but to a lot of people it is important. And I thought that was it's not a turnoff. I want to play the game. The only reason I haven't played it is because I haven't really been here, but I was on vacation, but so I've been playing Vita, but That sucks. When I
Yeah,
saw that,
totally.
because
And that's
like there's collectibles and upgrades. All this, like there's a million different ways you could have fleshed this out.
And that's the thing. For now that I'm in, the fact that it didn't have a platinum, and I started off and I'm like, oh, it's ringing like Unfinished Swan. I'm expecting that kind of experience. And now that I'm more, oh geez, God, I don't know, 8 hours in, we'll say, maybe. You know what I mean? I'd have to go look at the game clock or whatever, 7-8 hours in. It's like, this is a full-fledged game. Like, so why isn't it being treated like that? And yeah, why is it that I'm going to upgrade all my things for a silver or whatever when it should be that I'm going through and getting?
Silly. How does the upgrade system work? Because one of the complaints I've seen in reviews of the game was that the upgrade system, I don't mind this kind of upgrade system, but I guess some people do, is that like you have to kind of pick and choose the upgrades you have to use, but eventually you are so experienced that you can just fill out the entire tree, which to me is fine. But a lot of people, or like one review in particular I read, really had a problem with that it wasn't as thoughtful as it seemed in the beginning. In other words, you have to make your choices, and then
I mean, that's how I always do it, right? Like for me, looking at an upgrade tree, it's always like, well, is there a trophy attached to it, and how does that work? So for me, it was I put everything into the hook shot, or the grappling hook. I was using it so much, and then when I got torpedoes, I started putting everything into torpedoes and ignoring some of the other stuff. And then now that I'm making more money, because what you do is you go through, you beat the enemies, they drop gold or silver coins. Your map when you pull out, which I really love. I know some people want it. Like Axiom Verge has so many hidden secrets, and you have to leave
overwhelming
1 or 2 markers for it, and it's kind of like, oh man, I saw this, I don't never know how to get to it. This one, once you explore the map and fill it out, you see every treasure chest, you see every door, like... So
it's like Shadow Complex.
Exactly. Everything's there. So for me, it's totally that carrot on the end of the stick of keeping me motivated, where it's like, all right, cool. I got the 3 gems to do this, and now I need to go over there to do that, and I could take this really direct route, but I haven't been back up there in forever, so let's go. So you go through there, and you're getting like gold or silver fish statues or pearls or stuff that give you more and more coins.
What with some of the touch, you're not a huge Metroidvania fan, right? So you've not played like a vast array of these games.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
So, but for the touchstones that you have played, how big is the map compared to say Symphony of the Night or Shadow Complex or the games you have played?
Well, if we're talking about it, I've played Symphony of the Night, but that was a long time ago, and then more recently Axiom Verge.
The Axiom Verge is huge. So is it? It's not that big. I assume.
When you zoom out, you could look at it and be like, oh my god, it seems like it's huge, but you move so quickly through it. It's not. Again, I don't mean to insult it or anything. It's not baby's first Metroidvania, but it is like a dumbed down. It is a simple Metroidvania.
Well,
you can wrap your head around this.
Suggest that is the entry. It could be an entry point.
Yeah,
for young people.
But I like that, and that's why it's working for me. And that's why I think, having not even read the reviews, just seeing the scores, I get where they're coming from. That this isn't, but this is very much one of those games we would always talk about at IGN, right? Of explore the scale, where not everything needs to be an 8 or a 9 or a 10, but like. This game for me is hitting on something. You know what I mean? I don't want every game to be like this, but this is a kind of game I was missing and didn't know I was missing, where I do want there to be like someone's reading me a story and I'm just participating in it.
What's the price point for it?
Great question.
I think it's $19.99.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And I think
$29.99.
What's the deal with the GameStop?
So this is the GameStop publishing label, right? Where Game Trust, where they've partnered now with certain developers like Insomniac or whatever to put out games that way and try to. I think it's it's GameStop trying to future-proof a bit, right? So that if the stores do go away, they have other arms and other revenue streams. And so this was their first one, right? They've been
this is their first. Ready at Dawn, they're doing one with them as well. With the guys that made The Order.
Yeah.
So the game is available only at retail in GameStop stores, but you can buy it digitally on downloadable services where it is available. So PSN and Xbox Live. I think it might be a Steam game as well. Not sure about that. It seems cool.
Yeah.
Insomniac is a studio I'm very close to, so it's certainly a game I want to play. I like to try to play everything that they put out, but
like I was telling you,
it's not urgent to me. I have I Am Setsuna now, so it's not urgent to me at all.
What I was telling you on Colin and Greg Live, I think still rings true. Is on PS I Love You a few weeks ago, we did the thing where one of the kid was like, "You guys get to make a game, but you have to assign these developers these different parts." And I think it was I always forget it. He put down fun or entertainment or entertaining gameplay, and my pick for that was Insomniac. And this is like the whole I hadn't played this game yet. This is like the reason why though. Is like an Insomniac game, you're gonna sit whether it's Sunset Overdrive, whether it's this, whether it's a Resistance, you're gonna sit down and have a great time with it. It's going to be rewarding, a Ratchet and Clank. It's going to feel like cool, I'm making progress and I'm having a great time doing it. And that's exactly what's happening here. Which is interesting because I really feel the last time I was in a mood and sat down with a game and loved it was Ratchet and Clank, which was the same thing where I woke up on a weekend, I was like, I'm finally ready to play this game, and played it for a day, and I was like, this is awesome. This is exactly what I want.
Did you beat Ori?
No, I never beat Ori.
Oh, okay, cool. Because this game, it seems kind of similar to that.
See, the thing about Ori though, right, and this is even what I got from demos and talking to you about it, was like, and Steimer about it at the time, was like how the difficulty spike, where you got frustrated, you're like, fuck this. You know what I mean? You got mad at the game. I've never had that. This is 100% like a chill experience. And that's what, when I talk about the soundtrack being so good and I talk about the voiceover being so good, I think it's just maybe it's, as our lives are so hectic and they've been so crazy lately, maybe that's what just it's calm and it's soothing and it's this and it's when I do die, it's not like, man, there's no way to get around. I'm never going to figure this out or get past. It's like, no, I did something wrong. You know what I mean? Like the few of the puzzles with the, you make the mind float and then you have to move it around. But if it touches this, there's like, because there's like air pockets pushing things around. There's some really clever design puzzles in there. Not impossible to beat. You see them, you can figure it out pretty much. But I like that. I like the idea of, I leave a room and I see something as I go, and then I see something down there, like whether it be an object that I know I need to go put in this clamshell mouth or whatever. And it's like, oh, that's how that connects. And I come back and do it right away, rather than like some games where it's like, I've beat my head against the wall for 30 minutes trying to figure out what's here. I must not have it yet. Or maybe I do and I just don't understand, but I'll go away and figure it out. Like I feel like what Song of the Deep's really great at is presenting you with these little challenges that you can conquer and feel good about it and then move on to the next thing. Or understand that I don't have what I need here. Like it's clear that I still, in my playthrough right now, I still have these glass walls, which are like one of the final barriers. These like, I don't even know if they're glass, whatever. They look like green tubes or whatever. And I don't have whatever I need to break them. And so every time I see it, I'm like, okay, cool. I know I'm not ready for that. Whereas before, when it was like the lava wall, I was like, eventually I'll figure that out. Or again, when it was like, I know I'm going to get small or something's going to get small to go through there to make it work.
There's a few things that turn me off about the way you're describing it, though. Just in the sense that, and I don't know for sure. I've not played it myself. I might interpret it differently. It sounds easy, which is a turnoff. Now, there are examples of easy Metroidvania games that are fun. I think actually Shadow Complex is a great example. That game's fucking easy as hell. And it's just fun because of the lore. It's fun because of the world. It's a satisfying game to play. It's just a good game. So that might be nullified by the nature of the game as well. The trophy thing obviously turns me off as well. But that's kind of an ancillary and not important thing. That's not going to stop me from playing the game. But yeah, it seems like it's easy, which is fine. I like the idea of an entry point though.
Yeah.
For the genre, because when you think about, and I don't know if that's the way they're pitching it. You might just be good at the game for all or whatever, but. When I think about the Metroidvania games, that's a genre I explore readily. The easiest one I can think of recently was the fuck was it? Not Shinobi. The one that Capcom released. Why can't I think of it? The ninja one. Strider.
Oh, Strider.
That one was so Strider. There was a Metroidvania Strider game like 2 or 3 years ago, right around when PS4 came out, and that was a really easy game, but it was also really satisfying as well. Just this good genre to explore, like similar to like how Pokemon is and traditional Pokemon is a nice gateway to role playing games for gamers. Like I can't think of a way to say like this genre is really great, but you should play Super Metroid or the original Metroid, which is fucking really hard, or something like that, like or Symphony of the Night, which is I think very obtuse to a lot of people. You can miss half the game and never know.
That's where I think Ori comes into play for me. I think Ori is a good,
but Ori's hard.
Entryway. Well, it has its hard moments. I wouldn't say it's hard overall.
I played one of those spots.
We played, when you played that one demo, but that was like,
and I was like,
you can do
it. You can do it, but I'm like, this is actually like shocking, which is actually one of the turn-ons for that game for me. I was like, great, like,
yeah, that was one of the few moments that are that difficult. But I think that Ori overall is a good entry point into getting into all those types of games.
Y'all nerds should play Symphony of the Night though out there if you don't know what Metroidvania is or just not familiar with the genre.
It's good.
That's Symphony of the Night is one of the great games of all time and easily the best Metroidvania game, I think. So good play. Super Metroid obviously a great place to jump in as well, though I think Super Metroid a little
cumbersome. I didn't like it.
It's a little overrated. I mean, like
it's not overrated.
We
talked about this in the past, right? Like there's a problem with 16-bit games generally that follow a style of old 8-bit games, and that it's the resolution, or not the resolution, but like we're playing in 4:3 still, but everything's bigger. So like nothing, and sometimes even zoomed in because you have like these better looking pixel graphics. So Samus is just way too big in that game. That's like
Super Metroid.
Yeah, think about
Metroid 2.
That's even worse on Metroid 2 on Game Boy. But think about the perspective of the original Metroid, and then think about Super Metroid, and there's just less room to work. That's a huge
in the way.
That was a huge problem to me even when I first played
comparing this to Super Metroid to Axiom Verge and then putting Song of the Deep in there. One of the reasons I think maybe it is easier or it's more appealing to me in the fact is that you're not moving, because with the Super Metroid, for the Castlevania or Metroidvania games we're talking about right now, I immediately started thinking about stiff controls. You know what I mean? Of the D-pad and the direction of that. And even Axiom Verge is better at it, but I still always had that problem where I'm trying to aim on an angle and it doesn't. Whereas with Song of the Deep, being on the sticks or whatever and being you're underwater, you can totally strafe around and do stuff. Yeah. And I feel like I can control what's happening in a battle much better than I can. Axiom Verge, which I loved and played the shit out of on Vita on our trips, like great game, really enjoyable. I still felt most of the time like, man, this is gonna be hard to get through. These guys, they're in control. I feel as Marin, I'm in control of the battlefield when I'm in there, because I do get to do the idea of shoot these jellyfish first or whatever, then go after this fish who's throwing his bombs, or get far enough away so that I can see their incoming attacks and strafe around them and get around.
Is it a dual stick?
Yeah,
thing?
so you're controlling and moving that way. Yeah, well, you're aiming or whatever, moving. Yeah.
No, that makes a lot more sense. Because like the controls, specifically with the diagonals, are a little bit hard on any of the games. I think that's a problem even with like Shadow Complex. So.
Yeah, and I think this is a bit forgiving maybe with hitboxes or stuff like that. And it's when you're shooting projectiles like the hook or the missiles or whatever, you'll see a little indicator on them go red, meaning that like that's who you're going to be shooting at. That's what's going to happen. It's going to go that way.
Any final closing thoughts?
I think everybody should give it a shot. I mean, if what I've said sounds interesting, if anything I've said sounds like a turn off, don't worry about it. But like, for me, super enjoyable game. Like, I really, really wasn't expecting anything from it, and I'm really, really in love with it. I can't wait to beat it. I can't wait to sit down again and get a big chunk of time to sit there and play through and finish it. Like it a lot.
Check it out.